Thank you for joining me for this presentation on general education. My name is Amy Marie, and I'm part of the Academic Advising and Transfer Center. Most first-time new in college students will be part of Missouri State University's general education program, but there are a small number of students who may be part of a program called Core 42. Core 42 is for students who are transferring in more than 12 credit hours from a set of select institutions. To check whether you're part of Core 42 or general education, you can view your degree audit, check your advising notes, or talk with your academic advisor. The aim of general education at MSU is to develop people capable of making thoughtful choices that lead to creative and productive lives and to responsible participation in society. This university is preparing you not just for the world of work, but for the world. You can find the general education worksheet by going online to Missouri State's webpage and searching General Education Workshop. Page 1 of the worksheet shows the foundation courses and gives an overview of the program. Page 2 of the program shows 3 different areas under the breadth of knowledge: the natural world, human cultures, and public affairs. The rule of thumb for the general education worksheet is to select one course per box. Some boxes have only one course listed, and that means you will take a course from that box in order to graduate. An example is the Foundations of Public Speaking Oral Communication box. You'll notice there's only one class listed, so you will take COM 115 in order to graduate. But most boxes have many course choices. Select just one from that box to satisfy that general education requirement. And of course, there's always an exception to the rule, and the exception is the Human Cultures box, where you'll choose 2 courses. Page 1 of the General Education Workshop shows foundation courses. These cover the critical skills that are needed regardless of what your major or your minor is. So the first course you're taking at this time is GEP 101, and you plan to take that in your first semester and complete it successfully to graduate. You'll also plan to take English 110, Public Speaking COM 115, and your math course within the second to third semesters at the university. The written communication and applied learning requirement should be taken after you've completed English 110 and once you have 30 to 45 credit hours, so when you're a sophomore. Placement tests are an important part of the general education program. These are used to determine your level of skill in a particular area of study. For example, writing and mathematics. This helps place you in the appropriate course where you can learn and succeed. You can choose to enroll in a course lower than your highest placement score, but you cannot go higher than your placement score indicates. So there's rules inside of rules, I like to say, for general education. So I want to break down these 3 columns on the breadth of knowledge on page 2. The first is the natural world. In that area, 1 column, you are not allowed to repeat any subjects. The same is true for human cultures. In that column, do not repeat any subjects. And the same for public affairs. So no repeats in a subject. So for example, in the natural world, we see geology in both the life sciences and the physical sciences. In human cultures, we see music in the humanities box and in the arts box. In the public affairs column, we see English in cultural competence and public issues. If I choose to do English 289, literature, culture, and conflict, then I cannot do English 201 or English 222 from the public issues box. So in any of these columns, I am not going to repeat any subjects. You're going to take 2 science courses while you're at Missouri State University. One will be a life science, and the second will be a physical science. You get to choose whether you want your lab science to be a life science or a physical science, but at least one of your 2 science classes will contain a lab. Labs come in 2 packages here at Missouri State University. Option 1 is a lab and lecture combination course. An example of this is Biology 100, Biological Sciences for Educators. We can see that this class is worth 4 credit hours. And the 3-3 in parentheses indicates that it will have 3 hours of lecture and 3 hours of lab. The option number 2 is that the lab and the lecture are separate courses and you must enroll in both. An example of this is Chemistry for the Citizen. You'll notice that Chem 107, Chemistry for the Citizen, lecture is worth 3 credit hours, and in parentheses we see 3-3. The 3 being indicative of the 3 hours I will spend in lecture, and the 0 being 0 hours in lab, because Chemistry 107 is the lecture only piece. If I choose to make this my lab science class, then I will also enroll in Chemistry 108 for another credit hour. And you'll notice in parentheses, this one says 0-2. 0 meaning I will have 0 hours in lecture for that class and 2 hours physically each week in lab for this class, which makes sense because this is the lab only portion of that course. You'll notice in many of the boxes, the courses have an asterisk next to them. Public issues box, every single course has an asterisk next to it. And that asterisk indicates that the course has a prerequisite. Prerequisites come in many different shapes and sizes. It can mean that a course had to have been taken prior to the current course that you're looking at. Or it could mean there's a minimum test score required to take that class, a minimum number of credit hours required to take that class. You might have to be admitted to a specific major, or the course might require permission of an instructor, or a variety of other things. So when you see an asterisk on the general education page, check out those prerequisites. You can find your prerequisites by going to the Undergraduate Catalog online and looking at courses. So for example, if I was interested in enrolling in Criminology 210, I can choose to look at Criminology and then look at that specific course, and there I can see the prerequisite is listed. That's 12 credit hours completed before I enroll in Criminology 210. The general education program is a really important piece of your education here at Missouri State. Before you have your advising appointment with your advisor to register for the next semester's classes, be sure to review their general education worksheet and mark the courses you've taken. Begin to research the classes that are in areas that you haven't taken a course yet. What in those boxes is interesting? What in those boxes is still needed? Don't stall on those foundation courses. And be sure to talk with your advisor about whether or not there are general education courses that are required for your major, so you can take advantage of opportunities to double dip, to earn credit for not only a general education requirement, but also in your major or minor. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you spending this moments with me learning about general education. If you have questions, please reach out to the Academic Advising and Transfer Center.